trouble in the paradise. William Ruto's next headache on replacing Kithure Kindiki after appointing him as the next deputy president is at the center of a cabinet reshuffle that is mooted in this critical time. In this podcast, while that cabinet reshuffle can be seen in public as just a plan to replace Kindiki, we want to look at more than what catches the eye, the stakes in that reshuffle, and why Rigathi next action is going to put Ruto in a big fix. Kindly watch to the end. I have an interesting analysis for you. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, I have some good news. That we started on Friday evening, the fundraiser for Nyandarua Granny Care. As I talk to you, we already managed one house. As I'm talking to you now, we already raised 101,000. So 103,000. So we can be able to fund one house. Remember, there were three. So pole pole. And I told you that I'm so grateful for those who took up that call. Remember, we are doing Granny Care in Nyandarua. This is a flagship project that we do under the board of supporting the elderly. So we are going to build them through these elderly members of this society houses. And one thing about them here is they're squatters. They stay in a squatter camp, elderly, without a support system. So this was linked to us by a senior teacher who has also been working in that community. And we were raising finances to build them the houses. We raised 100,000. We still have a deficit to do, so that will help us do one, plus kuweka plywood. Because I realized kama tunaweka plywood ndio zikuwe warm, at least to reduce the cold, itasaidia sana. So that's why we are doing 100 bob challenge. Kindly participate. We still have a long way. Tomorrow we shall start buying materials so that we do the first house. I think by Tuesday we should start building the first house. Wednesday we'll do the second one. Then by Thursday I'm sure we shall have touched the last one. So I'll be in Nyandarua for that week long, so that I make sure we do the houses. I don't want to go then come back. So nataka nikienda nikae hapo the whole week, and we can be able to deliver that project. And I'm just so grateful for those who have responded. Thank you very much. We are still a long way, but we are making good step. I just want to play for you a soundbite of some of just two videos from them.
Hii ni Meharate Gishagi. Ninaitwa Juguna Kamande. Na nilikuja hapa 63. Na mimi nakaa peke yangu. Sina na watoto, sina bibi. Hata watu ndio wanasaidia mimi.
Majina ni yale Sijoki Kinyajui. Nakaa hapa kutoka 1960. Mimi niko hapa, tunaniko na tapu ya nyumba.
Now, I've also realized that some of us have opted to be volunteers. Yeah, we are going to open that. Of course, we're in the process of registering foundation. So the moment we'll do that, we shall have the tab for volunteers. And of course, thank you very much for being part of this. I've seen Kenyans coming in a big way. That 100 bob challenge, that 1,000, that 10,000, that's 300. I know I cannot mention all of you, but I'm just so grateful that we are coming out of our comfort so that we can also be part of this society. In this bold podcast, I say, we cannot sit here and complain. We must also be part and parcel of this solution for this society. And that is what has birthed Bold Charity Network. So asanteni sana, let's push, let's support, and I believe we are making steps. Now, let's get to this podcast. Kithure Kindiki was appointed to be the next deputy president if the courts will uphold the impeachment that happened, the mob justice impeachment that happened both in the Senate and the National Assembly. When that created a vacuum, there have been discussions, so conjectures about who is going to be next. The first person that was mentioned was Kimani Ichung'wah. Then he came out in public and said he's comfortable with the majority leader, so he's not going to take up that position. Then the next person that was also named is Junet Mohammed. Junet Mohammed also declined and said that they are not in it for positions, so he's also not taking that position. But of course, my own assessment, I was not seeing Raila getting this cabinet slot, because unless they promote the PS Raymond Omolo, who is the PS of Interior, to be the CS, then they get someone else as the PS. But they cannot have the PS and the CS from Raila's side. I think probably that will not be the case. So Raila could not take up that position. But then what is happening now is a cabinet reshuffle. This cabinet reshuffle was supposed to look to pay back ODM, because ODM played a significant role in doing the mob justice against Rigathi Gachagua in the Senate and the National Assembly. The bid to get, there's another conjecture about the bid to get the speaker slot from Wetangula handed over to Otiende Amolo, so that as part of the future engagements. I know ODM has also discredited that information, and to me it is part of dropping the hint. Moving in future, I can tell you that that position of the speaker will be in contention if in any case Raila Odinga will be having an agreement with his sibling brother, Now, the understanding is that while Raila may not be handed the cabinet slot, even in the reshuffle, but there is the next frontier of that reshuffle happening and the principal secretaries. So the principal secretaries are the ones that are really on target. Exclusive reports show that Ruto is plotting a second cabinet reshuffle, targeting cabinet members and principal secretaries who are believed to be allied towards the deputy president. Now, from this, if you look at the first reshuffle that was done, I think he successfully expunged, William Ruto successfully expunged Rigathi Gachagua's allies in that cabinet. And one of the person that I knew lably was brought in cabinet by Rigathi Gachagua was Penina Malonza. So Penina Malonza was knocked out of that cabinet, and I really believe that she's one of the people that was really getting the support of them. Now, who are believed to be allied to the deputy president, the principals who are believed to be allied to the deputy president, but then principal secretaries, especially from Mount Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua may not have had a big say on who was to go to cabinet, but he was part of the lobbying tree for the principal secretaries. And these are reports that principal secretaries were fronted and lobbied for to get those positions through the axis of the deputy president. Now, I want us to look at the interesting bit of this analysis. What is the stake, or what will the president want to achieve with a cabinet reshuffle now? I know that the members of the public are reacting, and they've been asking, we want to see how Rigathi impeachment is going to put food on table. We want to see the kind of change that Rigathi impeachment will bring. But it is more captured in public and in media corners as Kindiki replacement. But in real sense, William Ruto wants to use that Rigathi moment to effect a cabinet reshuffle that is supposed to achieve these following factors. Kindly subscribe to our channel and kindly support the elderly mission in Nyandarua. Granica Elderly Mission in Nyandarua, we are wafer. We've managed one house. There were 3, so we already have 100. So we believe that kidogo kidogo jaza kibaba, hiyo kidogo 50, 100, contribute in every way, and I believe that we are also we are really making step. I really see we are really making step. Now, okay, what would Ruto wants to achieve? The first thing that Ruto wants to achieve with the cabinet reshuffle is to kick out Rigathi Gachagua allies, the roots of Rigathi in government. And why? There is only the three reasons why this is done. Okay, there is only one reason that leads to the other two. The reason why Rigathi wants to get the allies out of the government is leakage of government secrets. Let me tell you, you know, there have been, 2023, there were leakages of corruption scandals, quite a number that were there. And in 2024, we've seen high-profile leakage of the Adani deal. And it was leaked by a Kenyan who is not in the country. So the government has been scratching their head. How the hell did the public know about this Adani? Before they knew, do you know Adani deal was not, the whistleblower was social media. So the mainstream media picked that story from Twitter. Then after the Twitter raised the alarm, after the guy in Twitter raised the alarm, linking powerful government officials to that deal, the mainstream media picked the story. And it's one of the stories that has been sustained for long until they brought in Rigathi Gachagua impeachment so that they could silence or rather they could suppress the Adani deal story. The country was really consumed by Rigathi Gachagua impeachment. But as you can see, that was a high-profile secret that they will really wonder, how did it get out? So one of the things that they're keen about is, if Rigathi goes to the opposition benches, then leakages to the opposition is one of the tools that they will use to put government on check or put government on toes. And again, that also dents the image of government because of the media coverage. Remember, the media will always be the watchdog for the government, and the media needs that feed. For them to get that feed, they need to get exclusive stories. So that is one of the reasons. That is one of the reasons why that cabinet reshuffle is being done. And I will tell you in the next phase why I feel, while removing Rigathi Gachagua impeachment, or removing Gachagua allies in government is a move that those around the president think it's the right thing, but it's not a good thing to do at this point because of factors that I think most of us have to be alive to the fact that at the end of the day, people are losing jobs. For example, there is a litigation about 76 employees in the office of the deputy president that were locked out. In fact, Nation read a story that the staff at the office of the deputy president increased from 158 to 453. I don't know why we even have that story while the 76 walifukuzwa. So surely, probably, I don't know. Now, the second issue, achievement of that cabinet reshuffle, is just rewarding the parliament and judicial proxies. If Rigathi is impeached, two things stand true. That the charges were weak, flimsy, but the motive was stronger. The charges were weak, but the motive was strong. So the motive did not, the mover, those who had the motive of knocking him out, did not just need a strong case. They just needed the state machinery. So you look at the way Parliament had to sit, a special sitting on Friday with a record 2 weeks they're done. Same again going to Senate, despite of trying to acting like that quasi-judicial house, nothing. They still voted, and even those who were supporting Rigathi turned against him in the Senate and the National Assembly. So that will still happen even if you go to the judiciary. I was seeing a post that I think there's a post by Mutuse. Mutuse is going to vie for governor in Makueni, and is now seen on record really, dishing money and has bought a chopper, we are told, as a chopper, so that he can campaign for campaign with in Makueni. So you look at that. There are also stories about how the case is being done, the legality of the case in the judiciary. I will today do some recap on that. So I just want to leave it at that. So there's so many things that will happen. There will be appointments here and there, people's spouses, children, relatives, girlfriends, getting jobs here, some tenders here and there. It is just part of it. So for that today, they want to align. The other issue that Ruto wants to do is to entrench the broad-based theory. Let me tell you, the broad-based government is a theory that William Ruto is developing for 2027. Something on national unity, and in fact, I think the media really need to, the mainstream media rather, they need to do a debunk story. Do we really have a broad-based government? We don't have a checklist of what's a broad-based government. No one knows. It's just an English of broad-based. Then when it's in rallies, you will be told about unity. But do we really have a government of national unity? Do we really have a government that is balanced? If we have 7 cabinet slots coming from one region, if we have almost 37% of jobs, let's say 45% of jobs being shared by 2 communities, do we really have broad-based? I wonder, because yesterday there was a Gazette notice on Nairobi River Commission. I looked at that list. Guys, I looked at that list. You can go and look at the list where Millicent Omanga rejected the job and Bishop Wanjiri is here to comment. I did not see representation there. We don't have a broad-based government. It's not, I don't know how broad is it. Probably it's a broad. But we really don't have a broad-based government. So I think that's one thing that William Ruto is trying, because from Rigathi Gachagua impeachment, I told you that the narrative that Kenya Kwanza want to harvest is we are united, we are not tribal. They want to try run along that line. The other issue that I think is much can be seen, William Ruto could be planning to plant NIS agency ministries as Uhuru did. In 2017, after Uhuru realized that the government was almost collapsing and Ruto had ran away from government, what he did, he planted. He took guys from NIS. In fact, it's the last thing that Uhuru Kenyatta did. He went for the military and NIS and planted them, dispatched them in those ministries. And that's how he was able to contain. Remember when he said 2 billion is lost per day? That report came from the NIS agents that had been dispatched in those ministries. So that is one of the things that I think he wants to do. He wants to dispatch, because having looked at the developments of the things that had happened, he could be considering that. Now, when Rigathi will fix Ruto, and he's really putting Ruto in a difficult fix, some of these decisions of cabinet reshuffles, of kicking out allies, it's just showing you how he's been put in a fix, if you look at those reasons. Now, if you look at one of it is this. There is insecurity of tenure. Now, when you impeach Rigathi, and anyone who was brought in government through Rigathi access, because that's the nature of our formulating government. We normally bring people, we normally bring our relatives. We create insecurity issues, so someone doesn't feel insecure. When a public servant is not insecure, then he cannot be able to deliver. And mostly, they normally use scorched earth policy, where they want to sweep everything and move. So hapo ndio utasikia mtu atasema, I rather steal the billions and fight court battles outside, because at the end of the day, I will be fighting those court battles. At the end of the day, I will be locked out. So that is one thing, and it will crumble the government. When there is insecurity of tenure, it will really crumble the government. The other issue is the government exits, those who are leaving, those who are being forced out, could actually join anti-Ruto forces. I've been saying, if there is something that Ruto must be very wary of, is the forces that are against him. The people that say, no, the country is not going in the right direction. So those who would come out and join that movement, it will really be a bad thing, because that is what he did. After Uhuru Kenyatta kicked out Kina Duale and Kindiki and more comment from the parliamentary positions, they formed anti-Ruto movement. Now that movement will be formed, and it's normally a very personal one, because it oils campaigns. The other issue is, now that a burden of proof, I think UDA legislators, Rigathi will push UDA legislators to account for William Ruto's support. He was trying. He said, I was trying to lobby. I was kicked out. Now you guys remained there. Account for what Ruto has done. And that will really make the ground very hostile for him. And I think with the cabinet removals, there will be a shredding of power sharing deal. Bit of that. And the more you shred power sharing deal, trust deficit. You'll actually have trust deficit. In fact, I can tell you, I want to say here for the record, if Raila Odinga gets into sort of a deal that I'll get cabinet slots, I'll do that, then I support Ruto then you get in 2027. Then at the same time, you weaken ODM. William Ruto will get that second term, and the first person to be betrayed will be Raila Odinga. I'm not a prophet of doom. He will, because in second time, he doesn't need anyone. He needs the term. He will shred that power sharing deal chini. Then get his numbers. If he has his numbers in UDA, then run government. And the next person that will face that betrayal, Ruto wakosana na Uhuru, afukuze Rigathi, then someone want to tell you that they will be said. Thank you.